In third grade, I would show up to class every day wearing 3D glasses with the lenses popped out. While I really did think I was rocking this look, everyone I talked to would always say, "You should feel really lucky that you don't have to worry about having a prescription." What they didn't know is that I actually was really grateful. I wasn't grateful that I didn't have glasses. In fact, I've really wanted glasses my entire life. But I was grateful that my parents let me leave the house every single day looking as goofy as I did all year. At first, it might seem like they didn't do their job to protect me from embarrassment, but they instilled something even more important in me. Instead, they taught me to be confident about what makes me quirky, and they challenged me to stay true to who I am, even if who I am isn't society's cookie-cutter definition. And they did that with something even as little as this. And for those of you who are wondering, since you might have seen me walking around campus with glasses on, a couple months ago, I did get a pair of my first real glasses, and I'm grateful that they look just as good as they did back in third grade. Now, if I were to ask all of you to think of something that you're grateful for, I'm sure immediately most of you would think of your family, your friends, your ability to live in a free country and attend an outstanding school, all of which are amazing things to be grateful for, and I'm grateful for them too. In my life, I place incredible importance on relationships. My relationship with my mom especially is one that has taught me a lot about myself and about the world. A couple years ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. While I was angry at the world for not getting it and for not getting me, my mom reminded me to assume positive intent and to give others the benefit of the doubt. So when I would get frustrated at the nurses for taking too long to administer a needle, my mom would say, "Jay, they're practicing precision and accuracy because this is an important job." When I would get mad at my friends for complaining about a math test while I was at home worrying about my mom, she would say, "No one's problem is less important than another's. Friends support each other no matter what, big or small." And when I hated myself for not spending enough time with my mom, she would say, "By living your life, you're making me proud, and all you do is make me the proudest mother in the world." This experience taught us both about resilience and strength in hope and optimism. My mom, who is now cancer-free, is the reason that I bend but never break. While this period in our lives might have been one of the hardest, without it, I would be a different person than the one I am meant to be. And for that reason, I am grateful that I had the opportunity to be angry at the world. Now, there's also my best friend, and some of you might know him as the old guy sitting at the back of the chapel, my dad. Unlike my mom and I, who are a bit more spontaneous, my dad is incredibly thoughtful. He was born and raised in Tanzania and immigrated here for university. He carried out his degree and became an engineer working in the United States. This is where my mom first laid eyes on him and decided to never let him go. And I'm not even trying to be cute. My mom actually had to force my dad to go out with her, which was a bit of a humbling experience for my beautiful mother, who is into, well, a bit of a nerd. After leaving his job and moving to Canada with my mom to be closer to family, my dad decided to take a leap outside of his comfort zone, since after all, this is where the magic happens. My parents decided to invest in a restaurant business. Despite having diabetes and many protocols to look after himself, my mom, my brother, and I were always my dad's #1 priority. So naturally, he worked incredibly hard, but in the end, he lost everything. This was hard on all of my family, both financially and emotionally. So at this point in my life, I had every reason to be ungrateful. At least that's what I had thought. But in fact, life had given me every reason to be grateful. Grateful for what I had, and more importantly, who I had, which were my strong parents. Then, when my mom decided to move to Florida to work full-time, I wasn't angry at the world anymore. My mom would FaceTime me every morning before school and every night before bed. And my dad started learning how to give boy advice and became my personal photographer, and I gave him lots of opportunity to practice both. I was grateful that my mom was willing to be apart from her family to provide for us, and that my dad, despite working very long hours, always made time to braid my hair and never forgot to leave little notes in my lunchbox. And for that, I will always be grateful. There's one more person whose relationship has inspired me to go to that place where the magic happens. My brother, who graduated from Appleby in 2008, probably had the worst career kickoff I could think of. He was a struggling journalist. He would follow stories around the world, from Syria to the Netherlands to Turkey, sleeping on his friends' couches and occasionally dropping by Toronto, and even that was only when he missed my dad's cooking. He was broke, he lived out of his suitcase, and at times, he was lonely. I watched my big brother struggle, but I also watched him chase after his dreams, write some of the best stories I've ever read, and find the love of his life. My brother is in Croatia right now. His life isn't perfect because life isn't supposed to be, and he taught me that that's what's so great about it. So if you were to ask me now what I'm grateful for, I would say I'm grateful that my brother is a struggling journalist. I'm grateful that at one point my dad lost it all in a business venture, and I'm grateful that my mom had cancer. Here's the tricky thing about gratitude. You have to be thankful for all of it. Dr. Kelly and Mr. Dion showed me an interview of Stephen Colbert talking about losing his father and his brothers in an accident. Here he expressed that there's no picking and choosing when it comes to being grateful. If you are lucky enough to be alive, in moments of struggle, instead of asking, why me, maybe we should ask, why not me? He suggests that absolute gratitude is learning to love the things you wish had never happened. In life, you won't always be given choices. Things will happen to you or your friends or your family that you did not want to happen. How you choose to show up in those times will define who you are and how you make others feel. One thing that I've learned, and now consistently try to remind myself, is that you can't always pick your battles, but you can always pick your side. Will you choose to be happy? Will you choose to see the best in others? Will you choose, no matter what, to work hard, show love, and smile big? 3 things that require 0 talent. These are promises that I've made to myself over the years, and on some days, it's harder for me to live up to the expectations that I've set for myself. But over time, you become addicted to the feeling of being grateful and expressing this gratitude. Senior ones, this year, it will be especially easy to get caught up in the busyness of Appleby life. Remember to stay grounded and fully appreciate the opportunity of attending Appleby. This means keeping it real, doing good things, growing every day, and showing up. Senior twos. It's been said that feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. We have 9 months left. It doesn't matter whether we've been here since grade 7 or only a mere 3 weeks now. Each of us have 9 months. In these 9 months, cultivate the habit of being grateful and express this gratitude to those around you. Because once these 9 months are up, who knows the next time you'll be able to say thank you to the one person that will always give you a smile in the hallways. Or the person who laughs at all your jokes, even the bad ones. Or that someone who will always be your person. This year, when you get a bad grade on that English paper, be grateful for the reminder to work hard and keep learning. When your coach benches you from a game that you've been training for all week, be grateful for the opportunity to cheer on your team and learn from observing. And when there's only 5 minutes left of study, but the duty teacher still encourages you to stay focused. Be grateful for the knowledge that you obtain in those extra 5 minutes. Gratitude is an all-encompassing term for appreciating the value of whatever is given to you and giving that energy back to the community. So if there's 2 things I want all of you to remember, it's don't forget your I love yous and don't forget your thank yous. And with that, I hope now you smile when you hear the song that reminds you of your first heartbreak. I hope you get excited when you find out that it's Veggie Day in the dining hall. And I hope one day you learn to love the things you wish had never happened. Now will you please stand and join me in singing hymn 423.